Hello and welcome back to The Matrix. I'm JD.
I lost my voice.
And we're back with Shadow Generations. Also, we're The Matrix Bros. Last
the name of the
episode
channel.
Last episode we talked about sequels. And how there's too many.
We touched on that.
There's too many of them.
Well, that would have been a perfect time to do the bit.
I think the business model of film has always been wrong. Cause like you're right, you know cause the original, you're right. The original business model of film was always like, or I guess movies, whatever. Who cares? The original business model was you have to come up with like a one sentence pitch. Right?
That you'll immediately have the attention of somebody. Like, oh, that's the movie. I want to go see that.
Yeah, it has to be like an idea that's like a single sentence. Here's 10 million, and if you don't make my money back, I will fucking ruin you. But anyway, and that was the original business model. And now the business model is, it's like all of Hollywood is just run by hedge fund managers. You know? Like it's all about hedging risk. It's all about just minimizing all potential risk. So it's like, man, unless it's from this thing that already has a proven built-in audience, I don't want it anymore. Which is just, you're in the wrong business, dude. Like, seriously. Get out of the film business. If you don't want the risk of making films, then don't make films. Give your money, like, don't give your money to someone else, but fucking sell your company to someone else. Sell your company who is willing to accept that risk, okay? And go be a hedge fund manager. Since you're so risk averse, go be a fucking... Go sell insurance, right? Like, go invest in an insurance company. You know? Put your money... Sell all of your assets. Put all of your money into a hedge fund, right? And have some guy just manage your money with a huge, diverse portfolio of different investments. Okay? That's how you minimize risk, okay? Quit ruining film because you want to minimize risk so much.
I got it. We're safe. Still alive.
This is true. I don't know if it was you that I was talking to about this, but like...
Don't lose it.
It's gone. I'm surprised that it took the film industry so long to get to this point, actually. Because, like...
I have no ideas.
This is just everything being IP, right? Just entirely IP-based economy.
What about now times is...
Like, that's what I'm wondering. Like, what about now is so different from before? Like, why didn't the film industry... Like, why did it take so long to get to this point, right? Because it's been around for like 100 years. You know, why did it take 100 years to get to this point where it's entirely IP based? You know, because you'd think like this is sort of like inexorably...
Oh no,
damn, that sucks. Because it is sort of inexorably true that this is basically the optimal business model for film production companies, right? Because obviously you want to minimize risk to the maximum degree, and you want to make X amount of money. You know, like the rich people are fine with there never being a Star Wars again, right? They're fine with, because here's the trade-off, right? If you make original films that people want to go, that like, you know, it's a breakout success and people want to go see, they make untold amounts of money. Like Star Wars, which made like $4 billion or whatever, you know.
The original, is what you're talking about?
Yeah, and Star Wars, you know, and now it's sort of the largest.
Star Wars.
Star Wars is just one of the largest IPs ever now, right? And that's what you can get when you create original IPs. You know, you can get that, but there's a risk factor involved. You know, because for every success that you get, like Star Wars, you have a certain number of failures. Right? And so if you just multiply the probabilities...
Ooh, yeah.
If you just multiply the probabilities, Oh, come on, you're right there, dude. You're right there.
just in case.
If you multiply the probabilities, then you get like a certain amount of revenue that you just end up with. And so you can just create things that have a guaranteed amount of revenue and make the same amount of money in the long run as you would if you made a new Star Wars. It's the same amount of money. So, like, I'm just so surprised that this hasn't been the case for much longer. You know? Because that's just that is the optimal case. You've minimized your risk, and now you're assessing just the same amount of profit for eternity. You're just making the same amount of money. No ups and downs. It's just boom. That's it. So that's optimal. Like, that's optimized.
Is it just the... Well...
So it's like, I don't... Like, why is it only now? Why is it only happening now? That's what I'm wondering.
Well, a big difference is the sheer quantity of bigger budget things. I mean, I don't know if that's the cause, but that's the one difference I can see. Like, where there's so much content being made.
But that content isn't really, like, big budget, you know?
Well, bigger than it has been before. Like, the B-movies of yesteryear are fucking way lower budget.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know, because that would imply that, like, companies are somehow spending more money on you know, content production than they ever have. But I don't think that's really true. Because their goal with all of this fucking, like, just churned out slop is to spend as little money as possible, right? On this stuff, like the Marvel TV shows and everything.
Well, they spend a fuck ton.
You succeeded? What the fuck was that?
I just had to dodge all this shit.
That was easy as fuck.
I know.
Nice. These companies, yeah, they're just evolving into the optimal possible model, which is relying entirely on IP and spending as little money as possible, right? Because before there were a few ways to get people into the theater, or, you know, to watch your thing. And one of those things would be, like, just having a huge budget and, like, being a really technically impressive production, right? But that's suboptimal because it's a huge budget, so you have to spend a lot of money to do that. And it's still a risk because you don't know if people are actually going to want to go see that or not. But now you have, like, this guaranteed percentage of people who you know are going to be interested based on their preferences and, you know, data from social media companies. You have, like, this exact percentage of people who you know are going to go see XYZ thing if it includes XYZ IP. You know that to a certain degree of uncertainty. Like, there's always a certain degree of uncertainty.
Well, also the weird thing about that is of how, like, we've gotten here. Because before it was always, we take an IP and we change it to not be the IP.
Yeah.
Like, why was that the idea?
That was dumb shit.
Like,
bro.
How did you... I mean, I guess the thought process is, oh, well, the movies we make do good. And if we want it to do good, we better make it like our movies.
To be honest, though, yeah, it could.
I mean, this is the new wave of it, so it's like, oh, they're so popular when we do it right.
It could honestly just be that that the reason that we haven't arrived at this, like, optimization of the business model much sooner, it could just be that prior to now,
Get up, you fucking head.
Hollywood was just really, really fucking bad at business, which is very possible. You know? This is very possible because they do, like, Hollywood traditions have been some really dumb fucking shit. Like what you said, where it's just, we're gonna change the IP to not be the IP so that everyone hates it. Like, honestly, that is just a fucking terrible business decision.
I gotta start all the way over? Jesus. I'm never gonna remember those buttons. You have to like press B and A at the same time, or A and B or something.
So it really could just be that they are just that dumb. Like, the companies were just that dumb. And it's only now that, like, we're getting actual smart people running the companies. But that ends up being worse because these smart people have realized that the best solution is just to make sequels and reboots. You think so? Do you think that's what it is? You think they're just that dumb?
And you'd think they'd figure it out by Star Wars not doing well, the sequels. I mean, they did well financially until the last one, where it dropped significantly. How the fuck do I get up there if I missed it?
I don't know. Like, all of these things are still doing well. Like, I bet that all of these things are...
Is Star Wars making its money back still?
I think so. I think all of these things are, like... They're like, within the constraints of the model, right? Because they're using... What they're doing is they're using big data, you know?
I guess the only one that's really failing is Sony with the Spider-Man stuff. Because there was like a big thing about their last one where it was just like, who is this for? Nobody cares.
What?
Nobody's gonna... The Kraven the Hunter movie.
Oh, that's true. I was about to say, like... Wasn't their last movie the fucking...
No, yeah, Venom obviously was like the only... What?
I was thinking Spider-Verse, but...
No, it's been a while since Spider-Verse already.
Yeah, it has.
And who knows when the next one's coming out. Why do you keep dropping me down, you asshole?
Can you... I don't think you can decide which direction it takes you.
I don't know. I'm pushing directions, hoping it... Because that one goes up when I tell it to.
I think it's just going up. And
just let me fucking
just
through.
Is coincidentally... Sure, there's some films that break the model.
Doom.
But ultimately... Well, that's not what I mean. That's still an IP film. It's just good.
I thought that's what you meant by break the model. It's actually good.
No, like as in break their predictions, right? But ultimately, I think what the companies are trying to do right now is they're trying to use big data, and they're trying to see if that, like, if they include certain IPs, they're trying to find out if they can calculate, like, the exact percentage of people who are going to watch it, and thereby doing that, they can calculate, like, the optimal budget that they can put into a given project. I think that's what they're trying to do. And they're, like, experimenting with it to see if it works. You know? And I think overall they're finding out that it is working. But, of course, there's always going to be some that break their predictions. You know? Like with this Kraven the Hunter.
Yeah, and that's like one out of the everybody else.
Because it's like Kraven the Hunter is what happens when you're way too math brain about everything, right? Like you're doing all the math, but you're not thinking like a normal fucking person, where you're like, wait, hold on now.
The funny thing
who actually is gonna, like, because you give the concept to a normal person who's like not being super math brain about it, and they will say like, that's very stupid. Nobody's gonna go see that, right? But they're just being, they're so math brain. They're just doing the calculation, and they're not even thinking about like, wait, is this stupid? You know?
Well, the funny thing was that the producer of the company or whatever was like, I don't understand why it wasn't doing good. It's a good film because it. That was his actual response.
Well, because the thing is,
he
like,
thinks it's a good film because it cost him the correct amount of money.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, executive producers aren't like this at all. Like the executive producers aren't the ones who are being math brain about it, because they're just dumb, right? They're just dumb, but they have money. That's what they are. Very nice.
Destroy. I didn't even read what I was supposed to be doing anyway.
Destroy the egg. I think you're just supposed to destroy those
Which
robots.
I was doing anyway,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, you got to do 30 of them. The executive producers aren't the ones who are being math brain, right? Like, what they have is they have like a because executive producers work for a company, and the company has like a statistics department or like a data analysis department, because every company does nowadays. And so they have the data scientists, and the data scientists are the ones who are being super math brain about everything. And the executive producer, you know, they come up with an idea for a movie. They're like, oh, we need to utilize this IP somehow. So they pick a random fucking character from the IP, and they're like, let's make a movie about this guy. And then they go to the math brain people, and the math brain people, like, their job isn't to stop and think about whether the movie is a good idea or not. Their job is just to do, like, if we were to make this movie, you know, do the math and calculate what the optimal budget would be to make this IP, if it includes XYZ thing. And then they do that. And nobody along the entire process stops to think, just you know, with common sense, whether this is a good idea. This is just generally a good idea, because it's supposed to be the executive producer's job, you know. But they don't think about that anymore. They just think about, we need to use this property. Which, to be fair, with Sony, they do genuinely actually need to use the Spider-Man property.
Or else they have to give it up. They don't have to do it that much. It's like, if they're stagnant with it for like some amount of years, it just reverts back to Marvel.
Yeah. But I mean,
which is what happened with Daredevil. Well, I don't think they owned it, but I think Universal owned it.
Yeah. Nobody along the way to question whether the movie should even be made, or the show or anything should be made anymore. It's just a question of, how do we make it? You know,
in the cheapest way possible.
How do we shoehorn this IP into this thing? And then, you know, calculate the optimal amount of money to spend on XYZ thing.
Can't find any more of these fucking doors. I see them. They're supposed to be here, but I don't see them.
But overall, I'm hopeful. I think, like, this will pass eventually. Even though I said it's like, it is
getting worse.
Well, it's getting worse now, but that's just a short-term thing.
It always happens before it gets better.
I did say that this is, like, theoretically the optimal way to run a production company, you know? It's the optimal way to make movies. You know, I did say that. But I think it's going to break eventually, you know? The business model can't work forever. What do you think would break the business model? Like, what's going to break the sequel? The SEQUELITIS.
That's the term for it, though, isn't it?
It is. What's going to break the SEQUELITIS? Do you think it's just going to be stuck like this? Do you think it's just going to get worse? Or what? Or do you think it's going to break?
Here, you play around in the
just
in the hub world. You don't have to do a mission. Just while I'm thinking. Fuck around in the hub world. And figure out controls for fun. What will break the mold?
Well, break the mold. I don't know about that.
Is that not what you mean?
I mean, just like what's gonna, like, is the trend going to continue, or is it gonna?
For sure, until Sonic's over. Well, like, what other IP? They got Dune for one more movie. They got Marvel until they have the Avengers coming up, and if that does well, then they'll probably continue and reboot and, like, change things to make it easier, or it'll fail, and then Marvel will have to Marvel will still just reboot and then just change, because DC is already heading towards, like, a better place.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to.
But the reason I was listing all those things off is that there's a couple things that will probably last another 10 to 20 years. Like, obviously, Superman and Batman are those types of characters will last fucking forever because they're just so iconic and like you can do so many different things with them. But there's gonna be a time where the Western dies, you know. What came after the Western?
It's just like they can do sequels and reboots forever.
Well, yeah, but it will change. Like, you know, like the Western used to be the biggest thing. Like all movies were Westerns or whatever. And now everything is based on Westerns because it was so popular. Like it was just so everybody loved them. But we're going backwards. So there's gonna be a time where the next big like thing, where instead of superhero movies, whatever it is, it's gonna have all the tropes that superhero movies have, or like the ones that audiences actually liked. Like obviously it's gonna have the Western influence already baked in, but people will call it, oh yeah, remember superhero movies when they have the stare down with the really close eyes? Well, you gotta find one of those doors. You gotta find a locked key, or a key.
I think we have all of them. It's only telling me on the menu app. It's only telling me to go here.
It always said that. I'm pretty sure. It just always said that. But I could be wrong.
I can't find
That thing. That thing.
Yeah,
Go to there.
that's the key. That's the boss door though.
Oh,
Like
I thought that's what you were talking about.
I was looking for a door, like the door icon, but there's not. So now we gotta unlock it. I think we have all the keys.
We do have 4. Okay, yeah, you're right. We have 4. But you know what I'm saying? Like the Westerns started changing, and then that just became like the style of like all different types of stuff, and then gangster movies and stuff like that. I guess like the modern gangster movie with Godfather and like Scarface later on. Those are 3 keys. We have 4. Oh, that must be for the next door.
Cool. I guess we have more than we need. That's good.
And we'll.
All right. We open the
Do
door.
you have any final thoughts?
My final
on the
thoughts.
discussion.
I see what you're saying, but it's just like I want to know what comes after and when it happens. You know, and why it happens, because there's no reason. Like these companies can theoretically just make sequels and reboots forever. They have no incentive.
Well, yeah,
Because
the incentive
before-
is that people's taste is going to change. That's what I'm talking about. Or
What-
yeah,
Why do people's tastes change?
because it's a completely different generation.
I think
Well, like that's what I'm saying with the Western. Like, yeah, like people aren't going to see Westerns anymore, but they still love like the Western tropes. Like the things that they liked of superhero movies are gonna just be added into the next thing, the next craze, the next fad.
I just think it's a supply issue because like nobody anywhere, like who are these? That's my question. Like this is the last thing I'm gonna say. Who are these people that are watching all of these sequels and reboots? Like who are these people? Because I don't know anybody who's watching this shit. I don't.
I don't know. People Beetlejuice was an IP film and it did fucking really well.
Yeah, I didn't go see that.
I
Who
didn't.
the fuck is watching this shit?
Well, no, like
Everybody I know is complaining about this.
everybody I've heard that's seen that one specifically actually liked it.
I know, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is everyone I know is complaining about the fact that there's so many sequels and reboots.
Because they
So
still go
I-
to them. They're complaining to them because they see them.
They're seeing them because they have no choice.
Well,
What
yeah.
else are they gonna watch? That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's a taste problem. I think it's a supply problem. There's no choice. It's the only thing that's on. Everything, every like, because people have a general desire to go see these big budget movies and see these spectacles, right?
These roller coasters.
They have a general desire to go see movies or to watch movies, but they don't. There's no choice. Like there's no. You know, it's either you can watch really small fucking movies that nobody's fucking heard of, or sequels. There's no in between, right? It's a supply issue, right? That's what I'm, because everybody I know is complaining about this. Nobody wants this to be the case, but they're watching this shit anyway because it's all there is. So why would companies ever, like, why would they be incentivized to ever change this?
Because there's gonna, it's probably, this is like the start of the downfall, where people stop going to them because they're at that tipping point. They'll eventually run out of things to remake, or Disney. I mean, like their 2D animated things that they're remaking everything of. They're
That's
eventually
true.
gonna run out of that and run out of sequels to those, like Mufasa. And then they're gonna have to go to what are they gonna do next? Live actions of their 3D animated ones. Live action Toy Story. And it's just animated again.
It would literally have to. Well, Toy Story might not have to be animated.
What would it be?
Well, because you can just have an actor play Woody. And
Would you do that though? Because he's supposed to be a toy.
They'd have to, because
We're getting
it can't
way
just
too
be
in depth.
animated.
We're gonna leave you guys now with that thought. Live action Woody.
No,
they
no,
get
don't give them
they get
that-
CGI Tom Hanks to
Don't-
play live action Woody,
Don't give them the idea.
and they have CGI
Tom Hanks is too old to play Woody.
CGI him.
CGI AI Tom Hanks.
Well, they already did that for that movie.
CGAI.
That movie Home, where it's the camera's in that fixed position for all of life, and it's like 80s Tom Hanks, and it looks like it is. It's like, I mean, at least in the trailer, it looked like pretty fucking spot on. But that's what they released.
Yeah,
to the
it's
public.
like now because it's like there's no incentive to use new actors anymore.
Yeah, either. It's
There's
like
no incentive to create new IPs, because creating a new IP is a huge undertaking that might not even pay off. There's no one like you, because you're saying they can run out of sequels, but they won't. Like, you can make sequels forever.
Well, I understand that, but you can
and,
only
like,
do that until people stop watching them, which they will inevitably happen.
And then you just reboot it, and then it's a whole big thing, and it's just like,
we took so long with this outro that the game wants to die.
well, you know what? Shadow doesn't get impatient with us like Sonic does.
He just sits there looking into the spiral.
No, because it's like,
We need to end this, or
'cause
else
it's
this
like-
end outro is gonna be so fucking long.
we've already done this. Like Hollywood's already done this. You know what I mean? Hollywood's already done like the thing where they run out of sequels, and then nobody watches the sequels anymore. But they already have an answer to that. It's called a reboot.
Yeah, but how many reboots until
And
you can't reboot anymore?
The reboots, you can do it forever. There's no limit to how many reboots you can make, and it's just like, and it's been proven that it works. Like, once people stop watching the sequels, they do a reboot, and the reboot works, and people go see that. Is it gonna stop eventually? Maybe, but if it's the only thing that companies are making,
Then people are gonna get bored with them. Like,
but it doesn't matter, because people still want to watch movies. They're gonna watch it because it's all they have. What else are they gonna
why
do?
haven't we got stuck in this loop before then?
That's what I was asking.
Well, I know, but like, there's gotta be a point where it just people are uninterested in that. There's something else that's better. Like, it's not just gonna be stagnant. Where like there's gonna be small leaps and bounds that are like, oh, this is the new direction of Hollywood. Anyway, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Is that gonna happen? Or is Hollywood just gonna- because, like,